Donald J. Trump paid nearly 10 times more money to get his hairstyle during his years in The Apprentice than he paid in federal income taxes in 2016. Yeah, $70,000 on hair. A lot of work. That's just one item from a massive piece of investigative reporting out tonight in the New York Times on how little the president has paid and how financially strapped he actually is. The headline reads, "Long concealed records show Trump's chronic losses and years of tax avoidance." Here's the lead. Donald J. Trump paid $750. I keep wanting to say $750,000, but it's not. He paid $750 in federal income taxes the year he won the presidency. In his first year in the White House, he paid another $750. The Times' Suzanne Craig, Russ Buettner, and Mike McIntyre shared the byline. They write, quote, "The New York Times has obtained tax return data extending over more than 2 decades from Mr. Trump and the hundreds of companies that make up his business organization, including detailed information from his first 2 years in office. It does not include his personal returns for 2018 or 2019. Their reporting, which is fascinating, and I urge you to read it, details what the reporters characterize as, quote, the hollowness, but also the wizardry behind the self-made billionaire image. Joining us now, CNN's Kara Scannell, who's done extensive reporting of her own on Donald Trump's financing. Kara, from your own reporting, what have you learned about how the president's businesses are losing money and also how he manages to pay so little in taxes?
Well, that's one of the most interesting parts of the New York Times reporting is that they describe one of the means and methods that the president had done this. They said that he had made about $400 million from being on The Apprentice, not income he had made from any of his actual buildings that he owned or golf courses that he owned, but he made $400 million from The Apprentice and then took that money and funneled it into risky businesses and into new businesses and into some that he already owned. And then he took the losses that those businesses were generating and used that to reduce his tax bill. So it wasn't through, new income that he was making. It was this method and this scheme that he was trying to just use the money for The Apprentice to then get these losses. And another way that he had reduced his taxes, according to the New York Times, was by writing off a number of expenses, including $100,000 in linen and silver at Mar-a-Lago, $70,000 on haircuts, and about $200,000 in landscaping at Mar-a-Lago. So the president was taking these expenses, reducing his tax bill. And one other method that the Times writes about is that he had paid more than $700,000 to his daughter Ivanka in a consulting contract as a way to reduce his tax bill, Anderson.
Rick, while she was employed by the Trump organization, so he's paying, I guess she's getting a salary or whatever she gets from the Trump organization, and then in addition, as a consultant, she's getting, and that was revealed because she had to reveal that when she started working in the White House. Is it clear how much debt the president has, and why that matters is because some of that, according to the Times, is going to be coming due in the next couple of years, and if he's president, the question is, what's he going to do in order to make that money?
That's right. That's the big question here. He's got $300 million in loans that he's on the hook for many of his properties. Those are due in about 4 years. And what the New York Times also wrote about is this audit that the president has said he's been under and why he couldn't disclose his tax returns. They say that has to do with a tax refund, and that if the IRS were to rule against the president, that he would be hit with a $100 million tax bill. So that's potentially $400 million that the president could be on the hook for in the next several years. At the same time that his businesses are not making that much money and only frankly made worse by the pandemic and the impact that has had on the actual businesses that he's involved with, including his hotels. It really raises a lot of questions about how he would go about making this money when he is potentially on the hook for $400 million.
Yeah, Kara, appreciate it. Thanks. We want to go next to CNN's John Horwood at the White House. John, what's the reaction from the White House?
Anderson, the reaction has been entirely on brand from President Trump. When he was asked at a news conference this afternoon, he ducked on the specifics of the New York Times story. He deflected by saying he had paid a lot of state income taxes as opposed to federal income taxes. He denounced the New York Times as biased, said that they're going after him because he's a conservative Republican, and he denounced the story itself as fake.
Yeah, basically, well, first of all, I paid a lot, and I paid a lot of state income taxes, too. The New York State charges a lot, and I paid a lot of money at state. It'll all be revealed. It's going to come out. But after the auditors, I'm being They're doing their assessment. We've been negotiating for a long time. Things get settled, like in the IRS. But right now, when you're under audit, you don't do it. You don't do that. So we're under audit, but the story is a total fake. And all of this, there's this one, we had the same exact questions, usually asked by the same people, and that took place 4 years ago. You remember.
Now, of course, we all remember that Hillary Clinton brought up the issue of whether Donald Trump paid taxes in their debate 4 years ago in the 2016 campaign. And when that happened, the president bragged about it.
Yeah, he did. He said it was
The only years that anybody's ever seen were a couple of years when he had to turn them over to state authorities when he was trying to get a casino license, and they showed he didn't pay any federal income tax. So
That makes
if
me
he's
smart.
Now, the question is whether all those blue-collar voters and taxpayers who have backed the president are going to think that they've paid more in income taxes than him because he's smarter than them or because of something else. Joe Biden has framed his presidential campaign as Scranton versus Park Avenue, and you can bet, Anderson, he's going to bring up this issue in their debate on Tuesday night.
What's also interesting, John, and I've said this before, is that, as you said, Biden is arguing this is Scranton versus Park Avenue, but even for Park Avenue, according to the New York Times, this kind of, paying $750, that is incredibly rare. I think the Times reported something along the average of people in that 0.0001% of the tax bracket of income generally pay about 24% in federal income tax. So paying nothing or $750, that's even rare for the rarest of the rare.
Well, Anderson, there are really two different issues here. One of them is the shenanigans that rich people can get away with to avoid paying taxes. That's one line of attack. But the other is whether the image of success and affluence that Donald Trump has sold himself as possessing as an argument for why he could turn the country around, whether that whole thing is a fake. And he's vulnerable on both those counts.
Yeah, according to Times, he's received hundreds of millions of dollars. I think it was 300 to 400 million from his father over the years, starting at age 3. Trump has always claimed, you only got a couple million, I think, or which is, more than anybody, most people. John Harwood, John, thanks very much. Appreciate it. Joining us now.